this SaaS founder has a really, really powerful tool that cuts bloated procurement cycles from months to days. He's a consultant turned SaaS founder and with a really great product. But he also kind of has the same thing that I see a lot of technical founders have, which is defaulting to consultant speak. In this Clarity Jam, we dug into how to turn enterprise credibility into clarity, including one headline tweak that makes CFOs actually want to book a demo. Let's get into it.
My name's King Arthur. I'm the founder and CEO of AI Buyer.
Awesome, great name, super, super memorable, and I'm sure that's really helpful with your background in consulting and now with this newer business. How did you kind of get into and kind of start AI Buyer?
Yeah, so as I said, I've been a consultant for 20 odd years, working with Bain as a subject matter expert in procurement, and saw that with the advances in AI that we could basically duplicate what I do. So that was like the start of the process, yeah.
Kind of the whole adage of, figure out ways to monetize and also replace yourself, but also monetize it in the process. Super, super smart. Can you walk me through a little bit about kind of the niche that you're in and also who kind of your ideal customers are?
Yeah, sure. So when I sort of did a bit of research about what's out in the market, I found that the biggest potential competitor for AI Buyer was people who do nothing. So 60% of businesses have no procurement software at all. And surprisingly, the same sort of number, around the 60% marker, have no procurement team. So there's a lot of big businesses out there where the buying is done by operations managers, accountants, engineers, who knows, right? So I thought there's a big gap in the market there. So if I could come up with a simple tool which can basically lead them through the procurement process and get great results, then that'd be my ideal. So people with little or no knowledge and with potentially no tool in place is my initial target.
I love it. And you're basically seeing something that I see all of the time in not only Clarity Jams, but also in my work doing positioning and copywriting for clients as well, which is more often than not, the biggest competitor is literally the status quo or inertia or that ridiculously convoluted spreadsheet that 50 people have access to and breaks every single week. So the fact that you're already kind of recognizing that gives you such a leg up. When you are kind of talking to the CFOs, and I'm assuming there's probably a buying committee in there as well, given its procurement, what is kind of the main pain point that they're realizing, oh, maybe I do actually need AI procurement software now?
The main pain point is that the procurement process is seen as being a roadblock. So, I need to buy something, I need it quick, and it's going to be a 2-month process to go through and do it with the right governance and all the right processes. So really what I say is I get rid of that roadblock. I get it done in days, not weeks. And it's a professional process, fully audited, fully governed, so that you can actually present a report to your board, which shows you've done everything the right way. And it's in 8 days and it's great results.
I love it. And I feel like that you're basically describing what I would call and what I call a messaging wedge, which is, okay, what is that kind of main pain point that someone's thinking right before they become a customer? And for you, it's like, oh, let's say what was used to be a 2 to 3 month extremely painful procurement process, and now you're taking that down to 8 days within your niche. So the first thing I'm seeing, clear design, minimalist, but actually works pretty well. So the first thing I see outside of that is the sourcing expert with you every step. So when I see that H1, if I didn't know any better, I'd be a little confused. Is this hiring you as a consultant? Is this an agency? Is this a software?
Okay, yep. So I suppose that's where it's got the subheading, AI-powered platform helping businesses automate their sourcing process with little or no in-house expertise.
Yeah, that gets a little bit better. However, I do wonder if something I see across the board now across 20 of these jams that I've done, and then this also in the work of clients as well, is AI powered is kind of meaningless jargon. It almost feels today like the same thing you would see as Microsoft Word on a resume. It's kind of expected. So instead of saying AI powered, can you lead in a little bit more of that wedge that you already have, which is instead of saying AI powered, we use AI to basically speed up the procurement process from 2 months to 8 days. Now, suddenly, instead of saying the sourcing expert review every step of the way, you lean into that piece where it's like, take your procurement process from 2 months to 8 days. That's not specific. It's super clear and extremely clear that this is also software, not just hiring you as a consultant.
Yep. No, that's a good point. We've actually got that down the page, so we maybe AI buyer guides you to savings in minutes, not weeks. So
yeah, that's a lot better. That's a lot
Yep.
better, but I'd even say you can even take that a step further and just kind of put in the word procurement and things like that so that it becomes abundantly clear to someone within 3 seconds. They're going to know immediately what your wedge is, and they're going to be able to see immediately and be sold into, okay, this is either for me or this is not for me. And then you can use the rest of your homepage to create those wow moments, which so I kind of think about in terms of your messaging wedge within your hero, and it kind of reinforces throughout the narrative your entire page. And then you have the wow moments that are kind of supporting all of I didn't even know AI buyer did this. These are the things that it does. I didn't even know I needed this before, but now I can't imagine not having it. And that's how you create a really strong narrative that gets you a lot of sales calls and a lot of demos booked.
Yeah.
So you want to scroll back up a little bit. So we kind of covered that. My question to you is, obviously this is procurement software. I'm assuming it's pretty heavily on demos, not on product led.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so in that case, would it make more sense to just lead into one CTA, which is book a 15-minute call and get rid of starting AI buyer? And that just kind of is going to further reinforce, okay, this is incredibly easy. If someone's already heard about you or already pre-sold, it creates less of that like micro friction that can hurt conversions.
Okay. So with this Start AI buyer button, that's what actually brings you to the app.
Got it.
You can actually run it yourself.
How many people are actually running it themselves before they even talk to you?
We've had quite a few, surprisingly. Well, surprising for most of what you're saying. Yeah, they have. I think because I've promoted it via LinkedIn as well, that's why people have gone into it to try it themselves.
In that case, then you actually might want to have both of the CTAs, but maybe have some sort of, if you know you have to talk to them before they can actually buy from you, make that book a 15-minute call button just a little bit more eye-catching so that it's clear, but then you're still kind of getting the bottom-up people who just want to kind of see it first. That's a very smart way to handle that. And then I like your screenshots of kind of what is in your product. Makes a lot of sense. Do you want to scroll to the next section? So now I see this. We've kind of talked about this already. Make it a little bit more specific and turn that into your H1. It's way stronger than what you have right now. And then again, I like that you're starting to highlight in some of the key kind of value props you have. I would maybe tell you to can you get a little bit more specific and a little bit more clear? Again, similar to AI powered, AI driven doesn't really tell you much. Can you be like, so why does that matter? Like, what does it actually do for a CFO and or kind of the team who's handling procurement? Specify that across each one of those 4 value props.
Yep.
And then scroll down to the next section. Again, same point here. AI powered procurement made easy. Isn't really telling you anything. I do like the graphics that you have. That makes a ton of sense. But I can maybe say is, can you make that H2 tie way back into those graphics so that it's actually saying, okay, well, it's making it easy, but tell me how it does that. And maybe can you specify like how is your process working just at the high level in a way that actually is way better than the people who are doing that, who are just doing nothing right now and don't have software. Can you specify that?
Sorry?
That's more of a question for you. Is can you maybe specify a little bit on like, how is this process, different and better, and how does that work better?
Yeah, no, we can. So as I said, it's the fact that it's actually going out and gathering information that a procurement expert would look at, which you wouldn't necessarily. So an example is a recent cleaning contract for a $250 million business. They were just looking at, and they were based in one state in Australia. They were just looking at the local area for their suppliers. What AI buyer did, it said, okay, this is a reasonable sized contract. It's around a $2 million contract. Suppliers who are servicing other parts of Australia would actually set up in Victoria for this. So rather than just looking at Victoria, we actually AI buyer automatically looked right up the east coast of Australia, found a supplier that was very big and very successful in Queensland, invited them to the tender process automatically, and they ended up winning the tender and came in and significantly changed the value proposition. They're basically doubling the discount that was available from local suppliers.
Yeah, that is oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That is
No.
incredible. And I would definitely specify that kind of story, kind of at the high level of the process behind it. And then maybe even use that story as like a case study, whether that's anonymized or not, doesn't make a difference. Although obviously if you can't say the brand's name, use it to your advantage, but you can even just tell that story as is anonymized. And I would kind of specify that in this section. I like the fact that you kind of are throwing a lot of it, but you can just take that story and turn that into a process. Similar to being another thing that you could do that's just going to be better is I'm already counting probably 6 to 10 uses of the word AI powered, and AI assisted and AI driven. Again, it's not it's not bad, but it's also not helping you. Like it's just creating that like micro friction and doesn't really tell you what you do. And you've already kind of explained that so much better just on this call that that's like an easy way that you can really improve this page. Another thing you might want to think about, because I know that you are specialized in, I believe, aged care. Can you kind of include that throughout this homepage as well, so that you look like the obvious choice for anyone in that niche who's looking for AI procurement software? So if you want to scroll down, so your next section, you're including some statistics. Makes sense. Scroll down even more. Again, I would get even more clear because you've already said this already. Get even more clear, use numbers instead of replacing messy desk with AI efficiency and savings. Include numbers, include some sort of specific. Something that I have not seen yet already on this page is I don't see any like customer quotes or logos. This would be a kind of a great place to add that, as well as within the hero section. Oh, not AI. I would take some of these. These are great. Love them. I would have 3 of them and keep them here. And then I would take your flagship best testimonial you have and put that right below your hero section. Reason behind that is you often see it across every SaaS website, and there's a reason for it. Having that so pretty high up above the fold, whether that's logos or like a flagship case study or a flagship of 3, this goes a very long way to just kind of establishing trust very quickly on and helps conversions. But you also have that here as well, which makes a ton of sense. And then you have common questions. This is another thing that I see across everything, which is so many people view FAQs as basically an SEO play, where I would argue it works a lot better across doing, 40 plus of these jams now, plus also just my work with clients when I'm actually writing copy is it's so much more effective to use them as objection killers. So instead of talking about your refund policy or how can I upgrade to a new plan, can you talk about, the 3 to 5 ways that someone doesn't use AI buyer or, stays on the status quo? That's just a really smart way to really, really boost up your conversions and just make your demos and sales calls just convert a lot faster and just build trust a lot faster. So with that in mind, what are the 3 biggest reasons people don't use your software?
So for example, if a CFO says I don't have budget, like my comeback for that is, well, we don't charge you until after we've run the process, and given it only takes 8 days to save $500,000, then you can afford the $20,000 that I'm going to charge.
Awesome. I would definitely lean into that, and then maybe find kind of go look through all of your sales calls, and go find kind of the other ones where there's hesitation and put those in that section. And then therefore you can just, at that point, get rid of the, can I upgrade my plan later on sort of thing? That is basically the filler right now.
Yes. Yep.
So if you want to scroll down to the next section, so now you have kind of your final process, final CTA, that makes a lot of sense. Anything else before we wrap?
No, that was good. That was excellent feedback. Thanks for that, Jessica.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming on to Clarity Jams, King.
Okay, thank you.